Everyone, we start tonight with a stunning new jobs report revealing an alarming new first, as the number of Americans who could be working but are not hits an all-time record low. A new report reveals that 92 million Americans, nearly one-third of the country, could be in the labor force but are not. 92 million. In just December, more than 500,000 Americans gave up looking for work. And the implications of that are not good. Not good for them and not good for this country. Melissa Francis is host of Money with Melissa Francis on the Fox Business Network, and Mark Thiessen is a fellow at the American Enterprise Institute and a columnist for the Washington Post. Melissa, I'll start with you as the business guru on this. The December jobs numbers were bad. They were bad by any standard. But the more significant number that just came out, because the jobs numbers, they go up, they go down, is the number of people who gave up. Put it in perspective.
No, I mean, it's an enormous number. These are people that have just gone to the sidelines and totally given up. They've said, I can't find a job. I might as well not even look anymore. And on the left, they like to say that these are baby boomers that are retiring, but that's only a tiny fraction of these folks. I mean, these are just a lot of people who have gone out there and said, it doesn't make sense for me to work anymore. Maybe it's more profitable not to. There are so many programs out there.
Mark, we have heard from this president that the focus of his second term is going to be income inequality. Income inequality, which he believes is a threat to the American dream. These numbers and the people who have given up on finding a job in this economy prove that he's right, that it is a threat to the American dream, but that begs the question of who's responsible.
Well, income inequality isn't a threat to the American dream because, I mean, for example, if you were a CEO and I was a factory worker and both of us got a 30% increase in our income inequality would increase, but we'd both be better off, right?
Right.
Because you would make more money than I do, but we'd both be making more.
You're not going to make me do math, right? That's not where this is going, is it?
But the problem is that the factory worker is on unemployment because he can't find a job. I mean, the problem is that the economic recovery policies of the Obama administration are not working. The main problem in this country is not that the social safety net is too generous. It's that too many people need the social safety net. This is the worst economic recovery since the Great Depression. The economy is not creating enough jobs to keep up with population growth. And so you've got millions of Americans who are dependent on government who don't want to be dependent on government. They're one-third of the American people. Stunning statistic. One-third have at one time or another since Barack Obama took office slipped below the poverty line.
Wow.
Think about that.
Wow.
And so they can't. People want the dignity of work. They want opportunity, and they can't have that in the Obama economy.
Look at this. It hasn't been this bad, Melissa. These numbers since 1978. The workforce participation rate hasn't been this bad since 1978.
No, and what's really interesting is that the president's pet issue, which is this income inequality, actually got worse in the month of December, this deep into his administration. The stock market, you'll notice, is through the roof. I mean, last year the Dow was up 26%. It had its best year in 18 years. That is because of the Federal Reserve's policies, because of Washington policies. That has made the rich so much richer. At the same time, when you're looking at the employment numbers this month, the number of hours worked fell. That means that people who actually have a job, more of them were part-time.
Yeah.
Wages were stagnant, and the number of temporary workers went up.
But the president wants to turn around and blame the rich for getting richer. Meantime, the people are putting their money in the market because there's no other place to make money right now, given that you don't make any interest on your money. Here's what I want to point out. The statistics are terrible for what these numbers mean for the United States of America. It's not just your neighbor's problem if your neighbor is unemployed. Just a couple to tick off. It's a huge risk factor for divorce to be long-time unemployed and had to withdraw from the workforce. Yeah. Worse than the loss of a spouse, they say, in terms of stress level. Significant increase in death rates in the year after you've become unemployed and don't want to be. 2 times more likely to experience depression, low self-esteem. It negatively affects some parenting practices. Children become more distressed. This is all from the American Psychological Association. And on it goes, Mark. I mean, these numbers are more than, oh, let's give them some temporary unemployment and we'll solve their problem. They need jobs.
That's exactly right. And look, the worst statistic is there was a Rutgers University study that found 6 in 10 Americans think that the American economy has undergone a permanent change, that this is the new normal. Can you imagine that the majority of Americans think this is what normal is like?
I mean,
we've got to change the policies to
there's
get...
some truth to that. I mean, you look at the jobs that have disappeared. It's the manufacturing jobs that have went away. There are millions of jobs out there in computer programming that are not getting filled because people don't have the training. There has been a shift away from the type of work that a lot of people are trained for, and they're not going to find new jobs. We have more automation,
Mark, onto the government
robots.
dole?
Well, I disagree that that the new normal should be 92 million people out of the workforce. I mean, we have to find a way to create training and opportunity and jobs for the American people and not blame people. I mean, the big problem what we need to be worried about is Republicans cannot fall into the trap of Mitt Romney and the 47% comment and say that we're going to become a nation of moochers who don't want to take care of themselves. Nobody grows up saying, I want to be dependent on the government. People grow up and say, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a policeman, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a computer programmer. We need to restore the American dream and focus on upward mobility so people can get a shot at the American dream again.
But it sounds like Mark is getting ready to run. I got to go. I got to run. See you guys.